What's going on? It's your boy Sermon at Sermon's Domain on Twitter. Round one of Meek Mill versus The Game just ended yesterday, but today round two begins. The Game decided to flip the script, and his latest response is over Young M.A.'s Ooh record. So Game in his mind is like, you know what, Meek did, whatever he did on this, so I'm going to go and kill this beat instead. He wanted to prove that he could do more damage on this beat than Meek did. So did he? I would say yes. Never count the Game out. Never. I think what we're seeing right before our eyes is like a bigger hip-hop war happening. In terms of it's going to be Game versus Meek Mill, Omelly, and Beanie Sigel. Now, Game is smart because when it comes to proportions, he knows how to divvy them out on this record. He dedicates a little bit of time to Omelly, slightly more to Beanie Sigel, and then focuses on Meek Mill as the main attraction. And there's even a Sean Kingston reference, a couple lines in there, but they're very small, so he's not really that big of a factor in Game's mind. Getting into the Omelly part, he ethers Omelly. All he had to say, there's just one thing that he had to say, and that's all he had to say was dissing his Sway in the Morning freestyle. If you've never heard it, you might want to YouTube it, or if you listen to the end of the song, you can hear like 10 seconds of it. It's bad. It's one of those, like, why are you actually freestyling? Just spit something that you wrote a long time ago. Don't try to freestyle because it was just bad. He wasn't rhyming. He was all over the place. The flow just sucked. So he pretty much got Omelly out of the paint with that one line. And I think it was like the perfect response to go at Omelly. Then you got Beanie Sigel. He really went off on Beanie Sigel. I think he has some of the hardest hitting lines on the entire diss at Beanie Sigel. He says, "Take beans back to rehab on Instagram looking like a motherfucking beanbag." He plays into this idea that Beanie Sigel is an addict right now. And whether or not that's true, hey, whatever. But I think it's really, it's playing out nicely for Game. And then the line that really had me going, wow, this is insane, was Hove gave you the game, you ain't soak it. You were supposed to throw up the rock, not smoke it. Again, continuing that play that Beanie Sigel is addicted to crack. And then he ties it all together at the end by saying, pretty much clowning the fact that Beanie Sigel said he'll be in Cali in 3 hours. But the math doesn't add up. You can't go from Philly to Cali in just 3 hours. And Game makes sure to acknowledge that by saying it's a 5-hour flight and get this guy out of here. Then he focuses on Meek Mill. I think the Meek parts were just as strong as Meek's disses to Game were. He said, the line that I really thought stood out above everything was, "The louder you scream, the whacker the verse. I put that Dick Chaser logo on the back of your hearse. They say the meek shall inherit the earth, so I dug your ass up because Drizzy buried you first." Whew. The louder you scream, the whacker the verse. That's just... There's a lot in those lines that I just said, and I really thought Game got him in this record. And then the other line that ends the song that was also pretty clever was, "Meek Mill, me and Drake gave you them 2 L's," referring to the last part of Mill in his name, obviously. And then he also kind of makes sure to acknowledge the fact that XXL had a post up that says there are no police reports with Meek Mill's name in it. So it makes Game look like he was not telling the truth when it comes to him saying that Meek Mill snitched on him. So he acknowledged those, but he didn't really go in depth about it. He just said they were fake reports. So, I mean, you got to take it with a grain of salt. We really don't know at this point. And then there's the exaggeration part on Game's behalf. He says that he's doing this by himself, but he could get a bunch of people from California, from E40. He said he'll bring Ice Cube out of retirement, have Dr. Dre screaming F Meek Mill, Kendrick, J-Rock, Q, and I just thought it was like a crazy exaggeration. He even said Nipsey. Nipsey went on Twitter just the other day and talking about how the two need to patch things up and just get this money. There's more important things to deal with going on in the world. So it was just kind of weird that Game name dropped Nipsey. Like, did he not see that ran on Twitter? And even then, it's kind of laughable thinking like Game can call up Kendrick and Kendrick's going to jump into this beef. Even Cube's not somebody who really raps like that. I don't think any of those people are going to jump in randomly to a beef unless Meek Mill brought them in for some reason. Otherwise, you don't really have anybody like on that caliber. You're not gonna have YG or Absol or somebody known jumping in. You're gonna have like the littler guys, the people that Game is cool with that aren't necessarily household names because they want that publicity. But aside from that, I thought it was like the most laughable portion on Game's behalf in the record. The thing that people forget is that despite Game's antics, he can really rap and go in on opponents. He's made so many diss tracks, it's not even funny at this point. He's had beef with everybody from G-Unit to Memphis Bleak to Joe Budden. The list just goes on and on and on and on. And Game is a battler. So when he really gets into beef and somebody really poses a threat, which I think Meek Mill does, he's going to go off. And I think him going in on this beat was a smart decision. It not only showed that he can keep up with Meek, but he can also surpass him. I don't know where round 2 is going to go. I just know that Meek, as well as Beanie Sigel, will probably respond with their own record. So Game is going to have to really work a little bit harder because now he's going to have to respond to Beanie and Meek. I don't know if he'll do separate records for them or go at them at the same time as they put out records. But I know this beef is far from over. And I'm excited to watch it continue to play out. So let me know what you think about Pest Control in the comment section below. Do you think Game really got at Meek on this one? What do you think about the Beanie Sigel lines? Talk to me. And then like the video, subscribe to the channel if you're not already, share the video. Follow me on Twitter at SermonsDomain. And as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate you for watching. And until next time, peace.